Right, I've arrived out at a new location to me. It's a bit of a hike to get up here. Let me tell you, apologies for being puffed out, but I've just come up an incredibly steep hill. Right, we'll have a little campfire today. There's no rocks in here. The ground is extremely soft under here, very wet. So what I've actually done is I've cut 3 green logs. These are completely green. These are not dry logs, these are completely green logs. And the reason for that is they would take an incredible amount of time to burn because they're absolutely soaked in garbage firewood. However, I do have some nice dry firewood I've just cut over there. And next to me right here, the reason I chose this spot is because I have a good pile of snow still and lots and lots of dead easy to get going wood. But these 3 logs are green. I'm going to do those, and once I've got a fire going, I will do something to eat later. What a lovely day, eh? Right, fire is going. Let that die down a bit. I just put a whole bunch of small stuff on there just to get it going. We'll let that die right down. This is the secret, not to put too much stuff on straight away. Just let it do its thing. A lot of people keep piling stuff on it, but you don't really want to do that. What a lovely day, eh? Yep. I'm trying to make a as smoke-free fire as possible. So I do have the green logs in the bottom, like I was saying, and the reason for that is I don't want a huge amount of in-ground heat. Like if I put really dry logs in there, they're going to burn and get really hot. The ground in here is absolutely soaked. Literally the other week I was up in this way and there was about a foot and a half of snow still up in there. Now I have patches of snow under my wood pile, and it which is good because I need that for putting out the fire, making sure everything's up. That's why I chose this site. You know, actually not far from here there is a much nicer site with actually has a bit of a view as well, but this one unfortunately doesn't have a view, but has everything else I need. Like it has a good water supply for fire maintenance and a bit of wind protection too, so it's nice. Yeah, I don't mind this still. So I will do this, let this die down. As you can see, the fire has kind of got going. Let this slow down a touch, and once this is up and good and hot and I've got some good coals in there, I'm gonna make some food. Bit early for food yet, but I have brought food with me, so but it's a bit early yet. So I will let this do its thing and get back in a mo. Well, lovely day, eh? I did bring my coat with me just in case, because you never can tell. It's supposed to be pretty darn warm today actually. I think they said 15, 18 degrees, something like that, which considering there was like snow here just the other day, it's actually not bad at all. So that's how you make a small fire, keep it under control. I have plenty of water with me, no liquid water, and there's loads and loads of snow throughout the forest here, so not too worried about that. So I will let this build up some decent heat in there, and then I'm going to get some food on. Right, so I've decided to get some cooking on the go. Now on today's menu I have prime rib, potatoes, carrots, onions, all kinds of good stuff. But as you can see, it all came in a tin. Now you're probably wondering, why has he put the tin on top of the fire like that? Very, very simple. I want to get rid of as many food smells as I can. So if you're out in the middle of nowhere, I see people cooking steak and bacon and all kinds of good stuff on a fire. Well, I don't know if you've ever been to a fairground, but when you go to a fairground, one of the first things that the fairground workers do is they've got a hot plate going and they chuck a bunch of onions on there. And the idea of that is the smell of cooking onions makes people very, very hungry. So that's the idea. You make them hungry, and then hey, you supply them food for a price. Now this is the same thing with being out here. If I'm out here cooking bacon and God knows what, everything else around here that likes to eat food is going to go, hey, what is that? That smells good. That smells like bacon. That smells like food. I should go and explore. And out here we have 2 kinds of bears. We have grizzly bears, black bears. We have wolves, coyotes. There's lynx. There's all kinds of there's cougars. There's actually, I know there's cougars not too far away from here. So you have to be very, very careful. So what I've done is I have my 3 green logs on the ground. Find the pointy stick. I have my 3 green logs still on the ground here, and underneath here I've now put 2 other logs on here. What I'm going to do is I've put 2 logs across the top. That creates a space for the heat to come up through, just to warm my soup up through, and hey presto, I will have a very nice meal. But the advantage of putting the can on there and what have you, I've already washed it out in the snow, get rid of as much of the smell as possible, because you may think a bloodhound has good sense of smell, but I can tell you, compared to a bear, a bloodhound is a pure amateur, absolute amateur. Bears can smell food or anything that could be food for a very, very long way away. Now, one thing they really don't like is smoke. So if you notice, I have a lot of hot coals under there, but I've now increased the smoke capacity, if you like, of my fire. That's doing 2 things. It's keeping the mosquitoes down, because the mosquitoes are out already, and also any wildlife that's around here, they really don't like the smell of smoke. But there's enough heat in there to warm my soup through, give me a nice meal. It burns out the inside of that can, which I will be taking with me. I did find some garbage on the way out here, actually. I found a shotgun shell and an elastic band, so I went a Coke bottle, so they will all be coming with me on the way out. But for now, I will concentrate on cooking up some food and have something nice and warm. I can see steam coming off it already. It's a very quick way of cooking food, this is, and it uses a minimum amount of fuel, and it cooks a very nice meal, and I'm not creating ridiculous food smells. If you're camping, you want to make sure that your campsite and your food prep site are way far apart. I see so many of these bushcraft videos, and people built fantastic shelters, and right outside the door they have this great big fire, and on it they're cooking bacon and eggs and steaks and prime rib and all the rest of it, and it's absolutely picture perfect, which is exactly what it's designed for. It's designed to look picture perfect. But in the reality of being out in the middle of nowhere, you do not cook food like that right next to where you're sleeping, because everything that likes to smell of yummy food is going to be coming and visiting you in the middle of the night, and that's not a good plan. Not a good plan at all, especially around here. Bears can walk very quietly, and so can just about everything else. So good idea. Make sure you prepare your food a long way away from where you're camping, and also a long way away from a water source, because you'll find that animals obviously need water. So don't be too close to a water source either. Right, I will concentrate on this. I need to give that a stir, because that's going to be getting hot in the bottom of there. Right, I'll get back in a mo. I didn't bring my tripod, so I will use it there like that. There we go. Always in my kit have a plastic bag, because I find garbage, very little garbage. Fortunately, where I live, people are very good. They don't tend to have too much garbage. But this time of the year, once the snow melts, anything that was under the snow, obviously you can't see it, but now's the time of the year to pick it up. I might give a trusty spoon of this thing. Right. Let's give that a stir. Oh yeah, it's getting good. Won't be long actually. At this time of the year, very important to make sure you've got plenty of bear spray with you. I have 2 with me today, and they are very handy, because the bears are waking up. They're not exactly in the best of shape this time of the year. They've been asleep all winter, or most of it, resting. I think they call it tupor or something, a topor or something. Anyway, people think that bears sleep all winter. They do not. They are active, they're just less active. Yeah. So, good idea to make sure this time of year you've got your bear spray really handy. They can creep up on you. In here it's not too bad. Behind me, in here I'd be more worried about like cougars and wolves and stuff. Generally speaking, wolves don't like people. Most wildlife doesn't like people. They do everything they can to stay away from people. Unfortunately, I see the smoke is now heading towards the camera, but there's not a lot I can do about that, because it's either have a little bit of smoke or blazing sunshine, because that sun is really warm. If that sun keeps up, I'm going to have to take this sweatshirt off. Yeah. But she is starting to sizzle in there good. Yeah. I think it'll be long before that's ready, I shouldn't think. Yeah. People say about the smoke, does the smoke not bother me and stuff? No, because this smoke, like as you can see, it's heading straight towards me now. There's not a mosquito or bug going to come anywhere near me. Yeah. have to watch your eyes every now and again, because you got like that, see? Yeah. However, if you want to get rid of the smoke, when I'm cooking like this, it's actually beneficial to have a little bit of smoke. But if you want to get rid of the smoke, it's real easy. Just put some more dry stuff in the bottom. You get more flame. Hey presto. More flame, no smoke. Oh, oh, oh. That is cooking up just nice. Mmm. Oh, that's so good. Now, people say about canned soups, they got salt in them and all that kind of stuff. Yes, they do. They are, quote, reduced salt. However much they reduce it by, I really don't know. But they claim to be reduced salt. But it's one thing I can tell you is the advantage of having tin soup is A, it's easy to carry. I don't have to carry a whole bunch of raw ingredients and make stuff. I'm not carrying a big chunk of really nice smelling steak this big in my backpack, which would automatically make my backpack smell of that. And any wildlife is going to go, that smells like meat. They know they can eat meat. That creates an attractant. So anything that you can do to reduce the ability to create attractants, that is a good thing. Yeah. That soup is not going to be far off now. Yeah, that is a good thing. So you don't want to have too many attractants for wildlife. I know it makes great videos, people cooking huge steaks in frying pans and onions and all that kind of stuff, which is the whole process of why they do it. That's why they make the video, because it looks cool. To me, being out here, I'm always very conscious that I'm visiting the bears in their home. This is their home, this is where they live. I'm visiting them, they are not visiting me. So I'm the intruder, they're not. So always bear in mind that, that's almost funny. Always bear in mind that the bears live here, we don't. That's a good idea to play by their rules. And trust me, they make the rules. They are rather large, 600 pounds of angry claws, muscle and teeth. Trust me, they make the rules. Yeah. I've heard some garbage over the years from people, but let me tell you, you come face to face with a really angry bear that's really, really, really pissed off, trust me, that is not somewhere you want to be. Yeah. And I've heard people say, oh yeah, you should carry a handgun, you know. In this, you know, one of the best expressions I heard recently, it was one of the other YouTube channels that I follow. He was out in the middle of nowhere in Alaska, and he made a really, really good comment. And the comment was, if you're carrying a gun, you've got to be able to aim a gun. You see, bear sprays like a grenade. If I let this loose, trust me, I hit that over there, everything over there is covered in it. If you're firing a gun, you got to be able to hit at very close range, in very, very panicked situation. You got to be able to hit an area this big in the bear's face, like right there, and you got to be able to do it consistently while a 600-pound really angry bear is chasing at you. And the only thing that's going to make that bear go away is if it wants to go away, because unless you've got some serious firepower, they're just going to bounce off that bear and you're going to really piss that bear off. But you hit it in the face with bear spray, it's going to want to leave, and that's the difference. Yeah, a bear has to want to leave. You can't make a bear leave. It's got to want to leave. If it doesn't want to leave, it ain't going to. Yeah. So I will switch this off a bit. I will get some more bits of dry wood in there. Just as you can see, that's how I laid it out. I will get some more dry wood in the bottom there. My support logs across the top are already starting to burn through, so I should pay attention to that. And then I will sit and enjoy my soup. I will get back to you in a moment. Right. One of the other things, that was a very nice soup by the way, I really enjoyed that. Now, I have to wash this pot out because I don't want food smells in my kit bag. So what I've done, the other thing that I see a lot of people doing is you'll see them making videos and they'll fill a pot like this with snow, and as you can see that's filled right to the top, flush with the top, and then 10 minutes later they got a full litre of water in there all ready to go. So that's full to the top, I don't need this water for anything. I'm just going to defrost it because obviously later I'm going to need it to put the fire up. So I'm just going to defrost this and see how much water I actually get out of a full pot. And I think you might be surprised, especially where I live, because in the winter our snow is very, very dry. It might sound stupid, but our snow is dry because it's -30 and much colder in the winter. So there's not a lot of water content in the snow. So I'm just going to let that defrost just so I can show you how much water you actually get. And while I'm doing that, I have some very special water in this one. A flat spot, because this particular water I don't want to waste. Yeah. That is good. Right. So I don't need to warm my feet up. You notice I've got spikes on. That's because half of the trail coming in here was solid snow and ice, still a foot thick or thicker, and the other bit of it was just dry like this. So I will let that defrost, and in the meantime, cheers. Nice cup of tea. Oh, I don't really need spikes this time of the year because generally speaking they're most of the trails are starting to defrost, but we're just started. Actually, May's tomorrow, isn't it? 1st of May is tomorrow. Yep. But then things really do defrost very, very fast. Like I say, we had 1 foot to 2 foot of snow not far from here. Just the last time I was up here, if you look at my other video, I was literally wading through. Some of the snow was literally up to my knees still. That water is, that snow is melting down there pretty good. So I will show you what we actually end up with at the end. That snow has gone down about half a pot already, and I can't even see any water yet. Still getting there. One of the things you want to do if you're boiling water or melting snow into water is put a little tiny bit of snow in the bottom, warm the pan very slightly, put a little bit of snow in the bottom, and you want liquid water in there. So if you just fill it with snow like I've done, if I was drinking that, I wouldn't drink that water now. I wouldn't care, because it would taste horrible. You know? But you put a little bit of water in the bottom, you slosh it around, you put a bit more snow in it, you slosh it around, and that's how you melt your snow. You don't just fill it and chuck it in the thing and what have you, because it doesn't always taste nice. I don't know why. I've no idea why it doesn't. It sounds counterintuitive, but that's exactly what happens. That oh, that tea is good and hot, I can tell you. This thing is brilliant. I'm not going to do any plug-in of names. There was a name under my other, but if you see these are absolutely brilliant. They hold my tea, and this is the most important thing. When you can come out and do bushcraft and all this kind of stuff, and you know, cook stuff and steak and eggs and all that other good stuff, but if you don't have tea, it's not worth coming. So gotta have tea. Yeah. Oh, I can almost see liquid water. We're getting down in there. Just want to make sure those handles aren't getting too hot. I need to turn them around a bit. Let's just slosh that around. This does two things. It melts some water for me, cleans my pot out, because I need to clean it out before I take it home. And yeah, she's melting through there pretty good now. Yeah. Oh look, got a pine needle in there too. Absolutely. Actually, we're getting towards the good time of the year. Once all the pine needles start coming out, all the fresh pine needle tea. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, it's full of vitamin C, but yeah, I like the nice fresh needles. The ones they've overwintered, they just taste like that. But if you get the nice fresh green ones, oh yeah, they're good. They make the best tea. That's a bit warm. We are certainly getting there. Right, for all intents and purposes, oh, that is good tea. That is really good tea. Right, so minus the twig. Right, don't need that. So half a pot of water, see if I can show you that. So I have a full pot. I got a little under half a pot of water there, which is good. That's actually not bad. So what I'm going to do is I will continue to fill this up with snow and clean my pot out, and then I will save that water for when it's time to go, and I can help put the fire out with that. As you can see, my 2 dry logs across the top that I used for cooking, they're now burning quite nicely. But the green ones underneath, they're still green. They're not even sizzling out the end of the logs, which is good, because I want a base in the fire. Because it's, unfortunately I don't have any rocks. I usually like to build rocks around it, but I don't have any rocks in this particular location. I'm sure if I dug through this lot I might find some, but I'm not turning over half a forest to find 20 boulders. So we'll go with that. I usually like to put something around the fire, but that's nice, wet, damp. Literally, it's squidgy, so I'm not too worried about that. And that is how much water, look at that in there, that is how much water you get out of a full pot. So you see these people, they stack a pot there, and the next minute they've got, you know, like 2 litres of boiling water or whatever. They've had to refill that pot several times, the same as what I'm about to do with this. I don't want to heat the water, I just want to melt it. Yeah. So I will stop rabbiting. I will enjoy that sunshine through the forest. Look at that, eh? Isn't that nice? Woohoo! Yeah, I'll take some more of that. Another bit of tea in a minute, and I will melt myself some more water. Right, just gonna collect some more of that nice dry wood. And the reason I want to do that is I now want to get rid of some of the smoke. So put some nice dry bits in here. Once they get going, they will get rid of all the smoke. So, can't come out to the forest without a nice orange. These are only little ones. I tell you, I got these the other day. They lasted really well. I do like my Mora. Everybody goes, oh, I do have my other knife with me today. That everybody knows I carry a different knife. There's more bushcraft. I have these things. I have the orange one because I don't like losing things. They do come in, I think there's 3 different colours. I think there's a black one, like a tanny colour one, and then there's the orange one. I like orange. That's why I have a yellow saw. I like orange. I like things to be bright. Just on a side note, to fill that pot right to the top with water for ready for putting my fire out. I had to fill it to the top with snow 3 times and melt it to get it completely full, and I'm still about a 1/4 of an inch from the top, but that's good enough. So I am going to, as always, I think I explained in one of my other videos, when you're cutting something like this, don't cut through it like this. If you're cutting something like this, put it in your hand and rotate it like this. The reason you do that is this thing is insanely sharp. Like, seriously, I have absolutely no doubt. Yeah, I have absolutely no doubt I could shave with that. They don't come like that from factory. They come pretty damn sharp. But I like to sharpen them right up. Sometimes a blunt knife is actually more dangerous than a sharp knife. So, oh, look at that. That is good. Oh. Now some people will just chuck this stuff in the fire. You could. I don't like to. Doesn't belong out here. Didn't grow out here. so it doesn't belong out here. I'll show you something else in a second. That is good. Now, I've heard people say about taking tin soup, they're heavy. Well, the amount of food that you're carrying, the contents of the tin is heavy. The tin itself, you know, weighs nothing, literally nothing, weighs absolutely nothing. Now, the other advantage of having a tin with you is you have a container that you can cook with it. I can now use this to scoop up more snow. Like if I'm not going to use this snow for drinking, because down through here I happen to notice in the some of the bushes in that the rabbits have been in here, and that is not snow that I would use for anything actually. It's, even if I boiled it, I'd have to be really thirsty to use that water. So however, there is some snow over there that I know is nice and deep and clean, but again, I can use this for the container for doing all kinds of things with it. I can cook in it, I can use it for collecting water, I can use it for boiling water. So tin soup does two things. Makes a very easy meal to carry with you with no smell. It doesn't give you any smell. I don't have a smell of nice huge steak in the back of my backpack for the next 3 weeks out in the bush. I have a tin that I can actually use as a container. I can use it as a pot, so it serves double purpose. So I am going to use this as a double purpose. I am going to, you can hear it melting already in the bottom there. Now, I've taken it out the snowbank, it's melting already. So I will stand that there, and that will give me even more water. So having snow to put on a fire, to put it out, is great. It works really well, because you've got to use energy out of the fire to melt the snow. You're also using the water to drip down through the fire. But liquid water like this, I have a whole pot there now, and that one, plus I have my water bottle. And there's so much snow here, it's not funny. But those are all important things to bear in mind when you're doing stuff. The other thing that people ask me, somebody asked me yesterday, why does everything have a lanyard on it? Right, but I'll show you why. Because if I'm out somewhere and I'm tired, it's the end of the day, and I accidentally do that, my knife is now somewhere in a forest and I have no clue where it is. And I hear all these people talking about knives and what's the best knife and all the rest of it. I can tell you now, the best knife to have is the one you got with you. It doesn't matter whether it's a Swiss Army knife, a little pocket knife. It doesn't matter if it's a bloody great machete, whatever. The one you got with you is the important one. It does not matter how many knives you have at home in a drawer with somebody's name on it, whatever, you know, that means nothing. But having a knife, especially a nice bright orange one, so if I drop that, if that was a tan colour knife in this forest, I'd have trouble finding that. If it was black, I'd have trouble finding it. Bright orange makes it a lot easier to find. I learned that the hard way many years ago. And the other thing I like to have is a lanyard. These don't come with a hole in the back. I wish they did, but maybe that's something that Gerber could do. I believe the Garberg, the full tang one, I believe that has a hole in the back. I don't have one of those, so I don't need one because I got this. This is almost identical blade. It's pretty much exactly the same blade, other than being a full tang. And I can tell you now, have been using knives for well over 50 years. I can tell you now that whether it's full tang, partial tang, whatever, I've never broken one. Never ever have I broken a knife. If my younger brother is watching this, he broke one of my knives once. He decided to try and cut through a piece of steel once. I used to have a very nice Bowie knife, and I'm gonna send him this and see if he remembers. I had a very nice Bowie knife. It was about this big, and I went over there one weekend, and there was a big chunk missing out the middle of the blade. And I used to have a nice wood turning lathe, and what I figured was he tried to chop the wood turning lathe with my sheath knife and my Bowie knife, and took a bloody great chunk out the blade. I'm going to send him this and see if he remembers. So if you're watching this, Dave, remember. But me personally, I have never ever broke a knife. Never broke one, because you use a tool for the purpose for which it was made. Would I cut a tree down with this? No. You know, would I cut through this with it? You know, if I had to, yeah. If I had to cut this in half, yeah, I could just keep chipping away. I mean, that's pretty hard, eh? But that's why they make saws. Saws are very good. I can cut down any of these trees I can see in this forest where I am now. I can cut down with this saw. I can cut them down, process it. I have my axe in there. I can process that. It's not in here somewhere. In here, I have my Fiskars axe. This thing I have had for a very long time. It works an absolute treat. I have beaten the living crap out of this thing. I've cut wood with this and split wood with this, way bigger than it was ever designed for. And again, there's a lanyard on the back of it, so if I'm swinging this and I drop it, I'm not losing it. Yeah, not a good idea to lose tools in the forest. And this is one luxury that I bring with me. You can make wooden wedges. Like if you're cutting through a tree, I do a lot of trail clearing. You've probably noticed me doing that. But if I'm cutting through a tree, I can put this in there. I can beat this in here. This thing it's a steel one. It's a good one. I can beat the living crap out of this thing, and and I've had this a little while, yeah. But it's one I actually found. I found this, yeah, and I keep it in my pack. So between these two things and this, I can cut just about anything in here. Anything. Doesn't matter which way it's laying in or whatever. I can cut it, and with a wedge, I can cut it safely. That's another important thing to bear in mind. So always make sure you've got the right tool for the right job. Yeah. I'm not going to bore you with all the junk I got in there today, because I did actually bring a lot of stuff with me. I was debating on whether to camp out or not, but let's turn these over. Let's put the unburnt side downwards. Got tin. It's melting pretty good in there. Yeah. I will let that continue to melt, because I want that for liquid water, and that's why I do it the way I do it. Yeah, let me just take that off of there. Right, what I did is I forgot to bring my tripod with me, so I only have my little, this GoPro has the little, what do they call it? I can't remember the name of it. Basically the little one in the bottom there. Can't remember the name of it. Either way, that's the only tripod I have with me. So as you can see, I've let that die right down. I've no need to have a huge fire today. And this is the best way to have an all-day fire. If you have a big fire that's continually putting out big flames and all the rest of it, you'll be continually feeding it all day, you know. But like this, I know there's enough heat in there. If I want to get that going again, between those two logs on this side, I can just chuck in a few more little bits. Hey presto, it'll get going again, which is exactly what I'm going to do in a second. It'll get going, and I will do that. And I have a sneaking suspicion I have a snacky bar hidden in my backpack there somewhere, so I need to dig that out and see what I bought. Sounds like we got a Huey in the bush. Over that way somewhere. I don't know if it is a Huey. There's a lot of them around here. Oil and gas companies that use them. Had a really good thump. There you go. That sounds like a Hughes. Still one of the best helicopters ever made for out here. Those things can lift an insane amount of weight. And after all this cutting up wood, it's time to, yes, I have to do it. Time for tea. Yeah. Oh, see, now I've switched over, I've transitioned the fire from a smoky fire to basically keep everything away from me while I'm cooking food. Mask smells, hide it in the smoke, yeah. So now now I've done with that cooking bit. Everything that has a smell to it has been cleaned, or like the tin down there has all been cleaned out and what have you. And I'm now using that just to warm up some water. I have water down there as well, which will be ready for the fire when it's time to go. And those 3 logs in the bottom, the green ones, still just as green as the time I put them in there. It's a good way to do it, really is. This stuff, you see all that flame coming off it at the moment, that's because I just literally just put half a dozen small, very dry bits on there. But if that's not a good time for a cup of tea, I don't know what is. Yeah, I will let that flame die down a bit. The tree that's in front of me, the sun's over there. Once the sun gets up into that gap over there, probably about another 4 hours, 3-4 hours, and I'll head out. But all the branches that were above where I'm having my fire, they were all nice and dead and dry. There's a really nice dead standing tree right there. That if I was camping out here, there's enough already down, but if I was camping out here and I needed some wood, that tree is pretty dry. All the outside branches are really dry. There's still a little bit of green on the top, so it's not completely dead yet. So it's certainly not one I would cut down. There's plenty of other ones through this forest. This one here, there's quite a few of those down through that way. If I was camping out here tonight, that's exactly what I would be doing. But I was thinking about camping out tonight. Things crop up and what have you, so there's stuff I need to get sorted. So either way, I will be out here today. I will enjoy my day out here today. This is a good camp spot actually. I've got to remember where this is. I just basically set off out through the woods and headed uphill, because quite often if you head uphill in a forest you find interesting things. There was a deer track up here. It was actually a deer track that I followed. Deer track, they know where the good grazing is, and they know how to get from one decent bit of grazing to another. So that was my plan, follow the deer. Yeah. And this is actually quite a nice spot up in here. There's a bit further up which is flatter, but there was no snow up there, so I didn't want to get my fire going up there. There's loads and loads of snow in here, so we're good for that. So. Oh. And that was a very nice cup of tea. And there it was gone. In an absolute emergency, if I needed to put out a fire, I could pour tea on it. But that'd be, it'd have to be desperate. To pour tea on a fire would have to be desperate. I see my water in my can is melting. That is nice. Yeah. Flames have died down a bit. I'm going to sit and enjoy the birds. I've got crows behind me. There was a woodpecker here just now. The jays obviously fly around. Other than that, I don't know what that bird is. There's another bird in the distance I can hear. I'm not sure what that one is. Right. Crows are having a lot to say about things. So, right. I will continue with this and do some more later. Now, this shows you the importance of using green logs in the bottom of your fire if you're doing that. Now, that fire was burning for about 4 hours. And here's the logs that were in the bottom of that. That's what gave me my base up off the ground. And as you can see, they're hardly burnt. This one here I think had the most heat in it, right here, which is why it is now. These are stone cold. I can pick these up. These have been cold for ages now. So this is the reason that they are now over here. If you ever do that with a thing, don't assume because they're green that they're going to be good, and you just can walk away and leave them, because you don't know how much heat is inside those logs. They will creep for a little while. So you obviously know they've been out the fire now for about half an hour or so and buried in snow. and as you can see, they are stone cold. No heat in those whatsoever now. Absolutely none. Not even warm. Quite amazing. But that shows you how effective using green logs is on the bottom of your fire to build a base. But, if you're on a bit of ground that's a bit suspect, so what I will do is, they are green logs, I will leave them there in a snow pile, and next time I'm up in this way, if I can remember how the hell I got up in here, I will they will all be nice and dried out by then. I don't like leaving them laying on the ground, but there's not really a lot I can do about that. But I suppose I could. There we go. Two of them are off the ground. Right, so if it's on the ground, they rot pretty quick, but that will give them the opportunity to dry right out. Right, now if I find my way back across to where I have my campfire, you see this is the trail I followed up in here, this deer trail. These deer know where they're going. Deer poop everywhere. So back up here. This was my campfire site. As you can see, I've soaked everything down. This has had probably 3 litres of water in it. Buried it in snow, stirred it all up. Another 3 litres of water. Just buried it right up in water and snow and stuff. But, my rule is, once I've soaked the fire down like that, I don't leave for about half an hour or so. And if I can't put my hand in there, anywhere in there, it's not cold enough. So I can tell you now, that's absolutely stone cold. That's been cold for about half an hour now. But that's how I like to leave it. I've got plenty more snow here, and before I leave, I will dump a whole bunch in there. That piece there, you can see where I put the hot logs in the snow just to cool them down. Very simple trick, but that fire was literally burning for a good 4 hours on top of those green logs. I cut them off with this one. Yeah, cut them off this one. Green as hell, that is. Oh yeah, it's green as heck. No good for firewood, but makes a good fire base, and it keeps it up off the forest floor there a little bit. As you can see, absolute minimal damage to the forest floor. If it was going to rain in the next couple of days, I would actually cover that over, but since it's not, I will leave it as is. You'll be surprised how quickly that'll all just grow over. The plants love the carbon and the wood ash. It's actually very good. Plants love it, and there's lots of small trees in here, as you can see. They will love the wood ash. I need to pack all this garbage up now, all my stuff, put it in the pack, and then head on out of here. Got somewhere else to go later. Right, and that is me done for there. As you can see, stone cold. Stack my few logs over there. Hopefully next, if I can get back up in here again, I can use those. You'd hardly know I'd been here other than a few cut ends, and everything else is stone cold out, and that's exactly how you should leave a site. It's actually cleaner now than when I got here. Right, so I will call that it for now, and I'm going to head on out of here and go and explore a different area. And this is why you have to be careful on rivers around here this time of the year. This is spring melt. If you look at the bottom of there, see that white in the bottom of there? That's about a foot, maybe more of ice. So you look at it and you think, oh yeah, in the winter I've actually walked up this creek. But, this time of the year, that's about a foot or more of ice in the bottom of there, and the water's flowing on top. As you can see, look how much water's flowing down that creek. Isn't that something? Right. Well, actually, I will use this as the closeout shot for this video. I just happened to pass this on the way home, and I thought, that's pretty cool. Spring runoff has definitely started. Once we get some heavy rain, this creek can literally double in size. Literally, I wouldn't want to be stood here if it's just been raining. Yeah, it can literally flow pretty bad down through here. Right, well, I will use that as a closeout shot for the picture, and thanks for coming along.